Welcome back to the Wealth Spec. Today, I want to talk about something that actually came across the other day. I met someone who's having a hard time in their life. They've been through a lot and they started sharing their financial mistakes they've made along the way that basically led them to this point. And they're the same age as me, but they felt like they had to basically restart everything. They owned nothing, they had no savings, were drowning in debt, and they felt like they had nothing to show for their work after all these years. This isn't to shame them or anything. To me, I saw it as a view that I think millions of people go through, which is a financial reset. And this could happen at any age and at any moment, and even happen to the wealthiest of people. There are life circumstances that can change your whole life, leaving you worse off than you ever were in your entire life. I haven't necessarily been in this situation, but the closest I've been to was about losing 70 or 80% of my net worth over the course of a correction cycle in the market. And this was a huge hit for me that made me question myself. And it felt like I was losing years of work and just spiraling down. I had no control left and I never knew when it was going to stop. And that just filled me with so much worry and panic. So I wanted to share this because I don't think people should be embarrassed or ashamed about restarting, especially if they've gone through some extraordinary events. They might feel a mixture of sadness, motivation, encouragement, and probably anger. And in most cases, this would be a solitary situation, even with the support of family and friends. They can only do so much. You'll eventually start to feel a drain on them or dependent on them for a solution. And one of the first steps to get everything back on track isn't even a financial plan. It's about getting your mindset down. It's about getting your mental health back at a place that is more healthy, to get your emotions and thoughts in order to understand your situation and how you want to actually proceed in your life, or even just for the next day or week to keep planning. Seeking help from a professional or family or friends to help with this early stage recovery is what you'll need. And I can tell you how this will get solved, as it's not my area of expertise. But asking around, searching across the internet, you'll find a solution that will work for you. And you'll want to reach a state where you feel like you can handle the rest of the challenges along the way, to make sure you don't feel like the world is staring at you and saying you should have more or be more at your age. And it's also to not feel sorry for yourself anymore that it happened, or that you wish you would have saved up or done something in the past, because there's no worry about the past. The only thing you should be worrying about is the future that's waiting for you. I think after all that, after you're emotionally and mentally better, the next step would be actually taking a financial route, being that you're going to take inventory of your cash, financial investments, credit cards, debt, and really other skills and qualifications you have just in case. And I think this is critical. And I think this is critical because you'll want to know how much you have left to live off of, and whether you'll need to get a new job in a different industry or hold multiple jobs at once. This will be a hard step at first because you'll start to notice exactly what you lost and what you're left with. You won't be able to hide anything, and I really think this step should be done alone. This will make sure you have nothing to lie about or feel the shame or pressure from others. In terms of cash, in terms of in terms of taking inventory, cash is the simplest. It's physical cash, what you have or what you have in your bank account. This is the same with financial instruments. Just taking a look at your portfolio. The next pieces will be a bit of a mixed strategy. This is because you might be going through a hard situation and would be struggling not to depend on this and avoid them completely if possible. But I do understand many people do rely on them, being credit cards. You'll need to take account of everything that isn't necessary, that can also be possibly sold. This could include any gaming consoles, furniture, tables, TVs, jewelry, tools, anything of value that, worst come to worst, you'll at least be able to sell without actually impacting your overall life. And the next phase would be actually jotting down a basic plan to keep your essentials running, like your apartment, car, food, and anything critical for you to really be alive. And basically, this will be your budget for the next few months while you save up or invest the rest of it to make sure you actually have some cushion from unexpected disasters or the tariffs. I think a comfortable number that most people recommend is 3 to 4 months of expenses. I think this is a good quantity, but it should actually be invested, not sitting in a savings account wasting away just because you want to take advantage of the time and hopefully the market upcycle. And actually sticking to a budget will be hard because at a certain point, you'll want to enjoy some taste of life and not just survival. And I think you should definitely take a chance to live, but not often. And that doesn't cost a lot because it does help with morale, but it can drain you and basically drain your accounts over time just because you're getting into a lifestyle creep. And the last piece, if you can call it that, is really to keep your motivation and hope. I always tell people that hope is something that can really change your life when you have enough of it to see the dream ahead. There have been points in my life where I lost a lot of my hope to the point of depression, and I was fortunate enough that I didn't have to go somewhere to work, and for those months it felt like forever. I didn't do anything with life. It felt like all a drain. I couldn't enjoy anything that I wanted to. And this state really felt crazy to me because I think it was something that I was pushing down in life until something big happened and everything piled up and made it worse. I did eventually get help, but that can only do so much. What I needed most for me was to actually get my hope back. I still kept working towards my dream, but even now, it's not back to the same state it was before, where you could see the hope in my eyes. But I'm still working to build it up. So this step will take a long time to finally feel that shine. I do think this will be the most powerful thing you'll feel in your life. You'll feel like you're no longer struggling and the burden will change. And there'll be a moment of simple pleasures to live life, to feel the peace in the middle of everything, and to be progressing towards your dream. Starting over isn't the biggest problem when starting over. I think it's actually the loss of hope. You might feel like the world is ending, and it might be, because a new world will take its place, but only if you let it. If you let it blur your vision for a moment to see what's in front of you. You've got a whole life left to live, and you can make it whatever you want, to see the world, to have children, or to make your mark, or even just to relax and enjoy your time with family and friends. It's all waiting, maybe a few months from now or years out, but it's there.